Alright, today we're talking about Altered Carbon. It's the newest show on Netflix. It just dropped today, and I've only had a chance to watch the first 3 episodes, but I wanted to talk about that a little bit and kind of see what your guys' input is so far in this series. If you want to talk spoilers, do it in the comments below. I'd be happy to go back and forth and talk about stuff that's happened thus far. I don't want to give any spoilers in this video since it's such a new show and I don't want to ruin anything for everyone. But I will give kind of a synopsis and outline, that sort of thing, and things that I found interesting. So, spoilers, keep it in the comments below. Warning to anyone watching the video, don't look in the comments if you don't want to see spoilers. Okay, so, this show I've been looking forward to for a long time. I've been hearing about it obviously since they released the first trailer a month or two ago, maybe. I guess it's a book. I have not read the book, so I might have a different outlook on this than people who have read the book. But I kind of like that I haven't, because I get to enjoy it without any preconceived notions. Okay. So the idea for this show is that far in the future, people can download their consciousness to these discs that they call stacks. Everyone has a stack, and that is where your consciousness is collected, and when you die, you can actually just put that into a new body and continue living with your consciousness in a brand new body of some sort. The more money you have, the better model you can get. Poor people end up with whatever's available. And I think this is a really interesting, just a cool thing to have be the premise of a show. I've seen things like this before in other stories and shows about transferring consciousness, almost like it's just a digital thing. I think it's a fascinating idea, right? This is essentially how we would achieve immortality, is being able to download our consciousness somehow and transfer it. Some people would say that's just a copy. That's not really transferring your consciousness. It's just a digital copy of you. But whatever. For the sake of this show, we're going to play along. We're going to say, yes, you can transfer your consciousness to different bodies and continue living. All right. So, the very beginning, the opening sequence is like this fight scene. You don't know what's going on, and it's really action-packed, and it's really cool, right? It jumps right into the action. Okay. What happens is this couple gets killed, and you don't know why, you don't know who's after them, you don't know what's going on, but the next scene you get is a guy being awakened in a new body, right? And it's one of the people who had been attacked in the previous scene. So this guy wakes up. His name is Takeshi Kovacs, and he's the main character of this story. And he wakes up, disoriented, but obviously all his memories are intact, and he's wondering how long it's been since he died, because he was in, his consciousness anyway, was in prison, basically, for something he had done in his past life, in his past body. I guess you can put these consciousness discs in. So, a way you can imprison people in this future world is to take their consciousness once they die, say they committed some crime, and they're sentenced to several lifetimes in prison, right? You take their consciousness and you basically store it and just black them out, right? For however long their sentence is. So it's interesting, but they don't know how long they've been out. He wakes up in maximum security prison, and he's wondering how long it's been, and it's been 250 years since his last incarnation, right? And he's supposed to be in there for, we don't know how long. Could be forever, indefinitely, right? He wakes up, and he finds out the reason he's been thawed out is because a very wealthy guy named Lawrence Bancroft has had him put into a new body, and it's a state-of-the-art body with like military training and higher strength levels and things like that, and weapons training and fighting and martial arts. So it's this like badass body, right? Okay. And Lawrence Bancroft has thought him out to find out who is trying to murder Lawrence Bancroft. So someone has tried to murder this really rich guy, and the really rich guy has tons of backup bodies, right? He has his consciousness transferred, but there's a stipulation where he can't remember the 48 hours before he was killed, so he doesn't know who's trying to kill him, or who killed his last incarnation, and now he's trying to find out who it was, because he thinks, they're still going to be after him, and they're going to try to take him out. Now, the only way you can kill someone in this future world is to destroy that disc. So that's very important. So someone tried to destroy his disc, but he had uploaded a copy of his consciousness to another backup disc, basically, which only ultra wealthy people could afford to do. Okay, so Takeshi Kovacs, the main character, he's really reluctant to help this guy. He has no interest in helping him at all. A little bit of background on him, on Takeshi Kovacs, is that he was in some sort of war in his previous incarnation, 250 years ago. And he was on the losing side of the war. And this Lawrence Bancroft represented kind of the establishment and basically the enemy of what Kovacs was fighting for way before he died. And so there's this tension between them. Obviously, the war is long over for Lawrence Bancroft, and he's just living in the world as it is, and Kovacs has waken up. Basically, like 5 minutes ago, he was in this war to basically stop these ultra-rich, ultra-wealthy establishment, types. It was like a rebellion, and Kovacs was part of the rebellion, and Bancroft was a member of some sort of the establishment that he was fighting. So, but Bancroft has told him he'll pay him ungodly amounts of money, and he'll be set for life and set free from prison forever if he'll just work with him to find out who is trying to kill him. And so then we also have Kristen Ortega, and she's a police officer, and she was investigating who was trying to kill Lawrence Bancroft. She has no kind of love for Lawrence Bancroft. The guy has tried to ruin her career because of her supposedly failing to find his murderer, etc., etc. But she kind of somewhat befriends Kovacs, and she's a main character in this story as well. So we get to meet her early on in the first episode, and kind of slowly through the first couple episodes learn a little bit more about her life. Now, the interesting thing is, we don't know a ton about Kovacs' background, except for what I told you. Like, that's introduced pretty quickly. But he's having these little flashbacks all the time, kind of letting you know a little bit more about his life before this incarnation. And same thing with Kristen Ortega. You're having kind of you're finding out tidbits of the story of what her past is like too. And we really don't know much at all about Lawrence Bancroft, except for the fact that he's super wealthy, super influential, and he has been around for a very long time and number of incarnations. He's 360 years old at this point, so very old, very wealthy guy, and definitely a staple of the establishment of this world. Now, what I want to talk about this show is, I think that the world building is pretty awesome, and it's almost overwhelming at first. When you first jump into this story, it's like, whoa, there is way too much going on here for me to ever, stick with a story. But they do a very good job at quickly getting you up to speed. And like I said, 15 minutes into the first episode, I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to keep up. But they do a really good job at giving you the information you need to enjoy the story, right? And all the stuff you're wondering, they kind of let you know. And I think that this show is really good. I'm really enjoying it so far. We're, like I said, 3 episodes in, and you find out things pretty quickly about this world. You find out that human beings are on multiple planets throughout the galaxy. It's the opening scene, and he says, what planet am I on? And so that tells you right there that we're on plenty of other planets he could have been on some other one. And so far, they haven't left Earth in the story, so we don't know if that'll happen later or not. But like I said, I'm only 3 episodes in, so I'm hoping to see that, hoping to see it expand beyond Earth, and like maybe they'll visit other planets, other systems. I don't really know how big this Altered Carbon universe is, and I'm really excited to find out. But so far, the story is Takeshi Kovacs is working for Lawrence Bancroft. He's trying to find out who murdered him, and there's a lot of crazy shit happening along the way, a lot of people trying to kill him, a lot of awesome action and fighting sequences in this show so far. And I was worried that it would kind of be overwhelming, but it's really not. There's a ton of story, there's a ton of story building going on, and finding out about characters. It could be just because it's early on, but so far, there's a good action sequence or two in every single episode thus far. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. So far, I'm really enjoying the story. I was not sure going into this thing whether I was going to really enjoy it or not, because the concept seemed awesome, and I was worried that it would be ruined by like a terrible story or some weird, plot holes or something. But so far, it's been really good. I have no idea really what's going on. Like, he's trying to get to the bottom of this murder, find out who's murdered Lawrence Bancroft, and you really have no clues to go on. There's a couple people he's investigated, but overall, we're still in the dark here, and there's still a lot more, I feel like, to learn about this world, this whole Altered Carbon world that, we've only seen a small portion of it, so I'm hoping it goes on. Now, I don't know if this is a series that they intend on making multiple seasons of. I know it's based on a singular book, I think. So I don't know if it's just supposed to be a one and done, but it's 10 episodes, and I'm really excited to see where it goes next. I'd like to continue this discussion. Tell me what you guys liked about it, what you guys didn't like about it. Discuss it in the comments below. Like I said, I don't want to give, important spoilers away, even from the first 3 episodes here. So anything you want to talk about that I haven't talked about here, do it in the comments below, and I'll absolutely respond and talk back and forth with you about it, because I think it's a really interesting show, and I definitely want to talk more about it with people who want to talk about it. So, all right, I'll be back in a couple days probably to give you my synopsis either of the next couple episodes or just a review of the entire show overall. I don't know how quickly I'm going to get through it, but I've already gotten through 3 episodes in 4 hours today, so it's definitely got me interested in finishing the series. Let's talk about it. Comments below, subscribe for more so you can get the next couple installments of this and the other stuff that I talk about. I just ramble about whatever the hell I want. So if you're interested in something like that, subscribe and follow along, and hit that notifications button so you can see whenever I upload. And that's it. We'll see you guys in the next one.